When you cross into the woods, it's like crossing a bridge into another dimension. You're no longer in the protective, manipulated world that we have created for ourselves. It's a spiritual place, one where we are not necessarily masters of the realm. Especially pine forests. For me, the pines and empty forest floor, only filled with needles, is especially reminiscent of a netherworld and an overwhelmingly spiritual feeling. Perhaps that's why stories like this are so often depicted in the forest. This is the story of the Jersey Devil. A child is a wonderful gift, but for Mother Leeds, her 13th child felt more like a burden than a blessing. Deborah Smith Leeds, or Mother Leeds as she was known, was born in 1685 in Burlington County, New Jersey. This is located in the New Jersey Pine Barrens, also known as the Pinelands, or just Pines. The Pinelands are the largest remaining Atlantic coastal pines ecosystem, covering more than 7 counties in New Jersey, or over 1.1 million acres, which is 22% of New Jersey's entire land area. The pines are an incredibly dense forest and are extremely dark at night as well. According to legend, in 1735, Mother Leeds became pregnant for the 13th time. A tiring feat, especially as the Leeds family was not wealthy, and her husband was a known drunkard who did not provide for his wife and 12 other children as one would expect. Upon learning she was pregnant for the 13th time, Mother Leeds rose her hands to the sky and proclaimed, "Let this one be a devil." A few months later, she went into labor on a stormy night, forgetting the curse she had made all those months prior. Her 12 children and husband waited in one room of their home, while midwives gathered to deliver the baby in another. The birth apparently went normally, and the 13th Leeds child was a normal baby boy. However, within a short time of Mother Leeds holding the baby, it began to change before her eyes, as the unholy wish she uttered months before had begun to come true. There are several different tellings of the story, but most state that after just a few moments of being born, the new baby transformed. The child started wailing and growing at an incredible rate, turning into a monstrous creature, like that of a demon. Horns began to grow from the top of its head, and claws tore out of the tips of the fingers. Wings like that of a bat unfurled from its back, with hair and feathers sprouting all over the body. The eyes turned bright red and began to glow as the face became gnarled and snarling back at its mother. In one of the tellings, the creature attacked its mother, killing her and then attacking the other midwives as it flew at them, and clawed and bit them as it let out blood-curdling shrieks, killing and maiming some of the midwives in the process. It then knocked down the door to the next room and attacked its father and siblings, killing as many as it could. The surviving witnesses telling of how it then flew up and out of the chimney, destroying it in the process and reducing the stone chimney to a pile of rubble. Another telling of the story says that Mother Leeds was a witch, and that the child's father was actually the devil himself. And in others, how clergymen were gathered to exorcise the demon from the Pine Barrens. But no matter the telling of the story, the Jersey Devil or Leeds Devil escapes into the pines, claiming it as its own. A desolate and dark place, fitting for such a creature, terrorizing all those who dare enter its realm. Mother Leeds in the legends was identified by some as the real-life Deborah Leeds, on the basis that her husband, Japhet Leeds, named 12 children in his will in 1736, which is in line with the legend. They also lived in the Leeds Point, which is commonly the location of the story as well. In the 1700s and 1800s, the Jersey Devil was spotted occasionally in the Pine Barrens region, typically frightening those who were brave enough to travel through the forests of New Jersey, especially the southern regions of the Pine Barrens. Unearthly wails were reported emanating from the dark forest and swampy bogs, and the slaughter of domestic animals would be attributed to the phantom of the pines. Well before the settlers from Europe came to the Americas, the native people of the Pinelands area, called the Lenape, knew of a spirit being that lived in the pines. The Lenape called this being the Missing. They understood this being to be a mysterious and frightening force that would imbue the plants and wild animals with their vitality. The Lenape never built their villages in the Pinelands, but would hold a ceremony to honor the Missing. On a dark night, around a large fire, the Lenape would dance and chant while beating drums that echoed through the forest. One of the members of the tribe would dress in a costume representing the Missing, and they would dance among the tribe. The costume was made of a dark, furry cloak with wings, a long tail, and a mask with horns and large eyes, very reminiscent of the characteristics of a demon or devil. One of the first recorded sightings came from that of none other than Napoleon's older brother, Joseph Bonaparte, in 1812. Yes, that Napoleon. His older brother claimed to see the Jersey Devil while hunting near his Bordentown estate. Around this same time, a flap of sightings occurred and the legend grew, with reports of strange footprints and eyewitness accounts hitting the papers. In January of 1909, the legend grew more, with nearly 1,000 reports coming in from eyewitnesses in South Jersey. One of them was a Navy commander, Stephen Decatur, who was testing cannonballs at the Hanover Mill Works in the Pine Barrens. Commander Decatur reportedly saw the creature and shot it with a cannonball, blowing a hole in the devil, but it wasn't fazed in the slightest. Strange tracks were again seen, and the bloodhounds refused to follow them. The accounts reached such a frenzy during this time that it actually prompted the public schools to close down around the Pine Barrens. Later in 1927, a taxi driver in Salem City allegedly had a strange encounter with the creature when he was changing a tire. He advised police that a winged creature was pounding on the roof of his cab. This one for me is reminiscent of the Mothman sightings, which occurred in Point Pleasant, West Virginia in 1966. Now thinking about it, there are several characteristics that are similar with the Mothman, like the glowing red eyes in the original legend, and of course the wings. In 1938, the Jersey Devil was declared the official state demon of New Jersey. Governor Walter Edge was quoted as saying, "When I was a boy, I was never threatened with the boogeyman. We were threatened with the Jersey Devil." morning, noon, and night. In 1960, several residents of May's Landing reportedly heard what sounded like unearthly screams in the night. No explanation for the noises was ever given, and a bit of a panic began to sweep the area. A circus owner offered a reward of $100,000 to anyone who could capture this creature, while a wealthy merchant upped the offer to $250,000 for the captured beast. No one has yet to receive the rewards. While accounts from normal citizens are good, having an account from a law officer or someone familiar with the area or wildlife in that area is even better. Forest rangers happen to be both, and in 1980, Wharton State Forest Chief Ranger Alan McFarlane had seen something unlike anything he had encountered before. A brutal scene on a South Jersey farm. A pack of pigs had been killed in the most unusual and disturbing manner. He reported that the backs of their heads had been eaten and their bodies were scratched and torn. However, no tracks were left and no blood spilled on the surrounding ground. In 1993, a forest ranger by the name of John Irwin was driving along the Mullica River. He stopped his vehicle when he saw a strange creature blocking the road ahead. It was 6 feet tall with horns and matted black fur and eyes glowing red in the reflection from his headlights. Fearing moving closer would provoke an attack from the beast, Ranger Irwin stayed in his vehicle and waited. The beast stared back for a short time and then disappeared into the darkness of the pines. Theories have ranged on what this creature could be. The Smithsonian even weighed in on the issue, stating that it may be some prehistoric creature that lived in the limestone caves nearby, or some unique marsupial carnivore, a pterodactyl or a thunderbird-like creature. It's fascinating how a story or legend can grow, from sightings and a legend to a state demon representing even a hockey team. How prevalent these tales become in our zeitgeist of our human consciousness. What's even more fascinating is how the native people here long before European settlers came also had this similar legend and equally as powerful of a belief. Were we inspired by their tales told to the first settlers? Did Mother Leeds really give birth to a devil? Or is this some type of cryptid hiding in this extremely dense forest, just few and far between enough and deadly enough to go undetected? These are just a few of the sightings, but they go on, and this video would be all too long to cover them all. I'm not so sure Mother Leeds gave birth to a devil, but it's certainly a compelling legend fit for a Stephen King novel. I believe this creature is more akin to that of the Mothman, something older than human, something that's been here a very long time that the natives knew about and knew to stay away, to pay their respects and leave it to the pines. I have been your host, Eric Gray, and this is Unexplained. Never stop asking what's out there. Good night.